But I'm not drunk. I can take some of your tests, but I just had knee surgery not 2 years ago, but okay, I can't stand on my 3, 4, 5, 6.
For me.
For you.
He said that?
Yeah.
My fiance said that.
Correct.
They wear the badge. They swear to serve and protect, but some of them use that power to lie, steal, and break the very laws they're meant to enforce. And the worst part, they think no one will ever catch them. But sometimes, the truth comes out fast and the fall is even faster. These are the moments when corrupt cops instantly lose their careers.
Back here. Turn around, look at me.
Officer James C. Carlisle was off duty when his fellow officers stopped him outside the supermarket. He and his current wife, Katie Marie Rice, were in a small grocery store in Rell, Georgia. But the police officers who approached them had more than just a good reason, and soon you'll find out exactly what this is all about.
What are you doing?
Headed home from Mom's house.
All right.
She had a couple of us in the hospital.
Me and you need to talk.
What's going on?
What are you really doing here?
Headed home.
Okay.
Really am headed home, promise.
That's not what my understanding is. Who are you waiting here to meet?
Nobody, my wife's in the gas station getting us a drink.
Okay. You mind if I look at your phone?
You can. I mean, I don't have my phone, we have her phone.
All right, who are you texting Hatfield?
Texting Hatfield.
You're texting Hatfield on whose phone? Yours or hers?
I wasn't texting Hatfield.
Okay.
She might have been texting Hatfield, but not me.
How does she know
She met
Hatfield?
him one time up there at the station.
Okay.
Wow, what's going on?
What's going on is why you're here.
James pretended he didn't know what was going on and acted like he was innocent, but deep down, he probably knew that he was about to become just another corrupt officer who would lose everything in an instant. As you'll soon see, his story starts to fall apart quickly, and the officers who stopped him didn't waste a second. They jumped into action right away.
You're here to buy dope from Hatfield.
I'm not buying dope.
Okay. Go ahead and put your arm hand right up there. Back here. Turn around, look at me. I'm gonna do that to you. Not having this. I trusted you to uphold the law here.
I do uphold the law, sir.
What you got on you?
I don't cash or anything. I have nothing on me.
What's your wife's name?
Katie?
Right here. Get in.
And then it was time to talk to Katie. The officer asked direct questions because he didn't have time to waste on these two. But Katie played the same game as James, who was already under arrest. However, this time, something was different. You could see it on her face. She knew exactly why her husband had been arrested.
You Katie?
Yeah.
Let's step right up here.
What's going on?
Who's texting Hatfield, you or him?
Who?
Hatfield, where's your phone at? Has he got a phone?
Yeah, I mean, he's got
Okay,
a
why are
phone.
y'all here?
I picked him up from Eastman from my mama's house.
Okay. Is this your phone?
Yes, sir.
Have you been texting anybody recently in the last few minutes?
No, this is my mom. Wow.
Well, right now he's under arrest.
For what?
Okay. He's not gonna.
But if you're still wondering what this is all about, don't worry. The officer is about to explain everything to Katie, who claimed she didn't know what was going on. Believe me, once you find out what's really happening here, you're gonna be shocked. The same officers who are supposed to enforce the law, the ones who should know it better than anyone, are the ones breaking it.
He's sworn to uphold the law. He's not gonna come here and buy dope. under my nose, okay? That's why he's under arrest. He's here right now to meet somebody to buy dope, okay?
No.
I'm not having it.
No.
I've got the text messages to prove it, okay?
He is not here to buy dope,
Okay,
sir.
well, I've got the text messages to prove it, okay?
I picked him from Eastman and we're going home.
Well, right now he's under arrest.
I mean, have you talked to him?
Yes, ma'am. He's denying it.
Okay.
But I knew y'all were right here in a Camry,
Yeah.
okay? How would I know that? How would I know that y'all are here?
I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I don't
Okay.
know.
Well, he's saying you've been texting him instead of him. That's what he just told me, that you were texting him. You know Hatfield, and he don't.
Police officers who approached James said that James had been contacting someone to meet up and buy drugs, which you have to admit is pretty shocking for a police officer. But Katie's reaction alone was enough to confirm the story. She didn't have to say a word. Even though she denied everything, her story is soon going to start to fall apart.
Or he's saying you know him. And I know he knows him.
Okay, maybe he could discuss this with you. Maybe he was doing something to try to help y'all out. He's an officer here.
Okay. No, ma'am, that's not it. Have a seat, because right now I'm going to search that car. Okay? Wilcox 191. Don't go back in it. Out at AV's in Rochelle, 1095 one time. Wilcox 7, go ahead and be en route.
Katie tried to defend James, but the officer wasn't buying her story. In fact, he was even more determined to find out the truth and prove his theory no matter what. What made it worse for him was that the suspect was a police officer, someone who should be setting an example for others. And because of that, the officer decided to search their car.
Yes, ma'am, that's fine. Not right now. No, ma'am. No. I am, yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, he denied it.
As soon as Katie realized the officer was serious, her story completely changed and she started to sound a bit upset. But this officer was smarter than Officer James. He decided to call for backup so they could handle the corrupt cop together.
Hey. Just locked up Wilcox 14. Let me answer, Jay. Hang on. Hey. Hello. Can you hear me? Hey, can you hear me? All right, he's sitting here in a dark blue Camry. Looks like maybe his wife's car. And he's denying everything, saying that she had met Hatfield one time. And
while they were waiting for the backup officers to arrive, Katie became very upset and decided to talk to the officers herself. Maybe she thought she could find a way to justify James, but she didn't realize she was only making things worse. Instead of helping him, she gave the police more reason to take action against James.
Sir.
yes, ma'am.
I heard him talking to somebody on the phone. Earlier.
He was texting. He wasn't talking.
Yeah. Well, no, I heard him text or whatever. But I don't know what's going on with this. I don't get involved with the mess. And I picked him up from my mom's house, and we was going back home. this whole Hatfield or whatever. I do remember this guy being in jail. I think he was in jail. I don't know, but.
Do you remember when, as kids, we used to give our parents silly excuses for our mistakes without even realizing they could tell right away we weren't telling the truth? Well, that's exactly what it was like with Katie. No matter how hard she tried to defend her fiancé, the officer decided to tell her what James had already said, and that changed the whole story completely.
I know he had mentioned something about this Hatfield, but I know that he does not take whatever the dude is talking about. I don't know what's going on.
Okay. Because he said he was getting them for you.
For me.
For you.
He said that?
Yeah.
My fiance said that.
Correct. Law enforcement officers are held to a higher standard, and I'm not going to have it. I'm just not going to have it.
They are, but I'm telling you, this can't be any kind of drug deal or something like that. I don't know what he told you. I don't know any of that.
He's going to have an opportunity to tell his side of things.
Okay,
Okay.
That's what I want. But I mean, I don't understand why I can't just talk to him.
Okay. He's under arrest right now.
For what?
The officer said that James had already admitted he was planning to buy drugs from someone. And even more shocking, he said he was buying them for Katie. So now it was clear he was really trying to get narcotics. That was no longer in question. The only thing left to figure out was who he was getting them for. But Katie stayed confused and kept pretending she didn't know what was going on. Now, though she was directly involved in all of it.
For conspiracy to buy narcotics. And he's off duty right now.
Exactly. He's an officer, though. I mean,
That is
get his
correct.
side of
So
the
therefore,
story.
he's held to a higher standard than the average public.
Okay, but I'm saying get his side of the story on
Okay.
it before you arrest him.
Okay. He's under arrest now. Or no, before arresting him. He's arrested.
I mean, you can stand over there while we talk.
No, not yet.
Am I going to be able to talk to him?
You'll be able to talk to him at some point.
No, you can search the car. There's nothing in my car. What are we waiting for?
We're waiting on my drug investigator who's been handling the other side of this case. He'll be here in just a minute.
When the narcotics officer finally arrived, Katie was already very nervous. You could see it on her face. She knew a lot more than she was saying. And soon the officers would find out the truth. With backup now on the scene, they could finally start searching the car.
Can I ask you a favor?
Sure.
Can you get this one pushed up a little bit? I set it on my
Yeah, sure. Give me just a minute. Which one you got, dude?
Yeah, I pushed down on my damn leg and it locked up.
That one?
Yes, sir. Is it possible I can smoke a cigarette?
What's that?
I smoke a cigarette. I ain't
We're gonna let you talk to Jay first, all right?
That's the car right there.
This is the car here. This is, she says fiance. I thought they were married, but you can.
Now, if you're not understanding how the officer who stopped James became suspicious in the first place, here's the explanation he gave during his conversation with the backup officers who had just arrived. But that's not all. These new officers also started talking to Katie, and without even realizing it, she began to reveal a few more important details about the case.
I haven't even opened the door. I saw him get out. He was sitting in the passenger side of this car. She was driving. She was inside the store. And he got out and walked over to me. Well, said that she had just picked him up from her mother's house. And, that's why they're here. I'll say Katie, but I'm not sure.
Man. Katie Rice. Okay. This is your vehicle? You have any information else looking in the vehicle whatsoever?
She told me earlier we could search the car.
Yeah, y'all can search it.
Do you know why you're here?
You don't have to be a psychologist or a psychiatrist to see that Katie was lying through her teeth. At times, it even seems like she was doing it on purpose, like she wanted the police to know she knew the truth and that James was clearly guilty. Maybe it was her way of getting back at him for saying he was buying drugs for her, but she did it in a very careful and subtle way.
I picked him up from Easton from my mom's because he had a wreck, had been taken off. I was at work. I had to pick him up. We came here.
I need to be honest. I need to be honest with you. Honesty goes a long way with me. I already know why I'm here. I need you to tell me why y'all here.
He wasn't talking to Hatfield, he was talking to him.
Oh. Well, I mean, then obviously, you know. I mean, I don't know. He said that, I know about a week ago, he said that some guy at jail, at the jail, had offered something about some pills. And he had been talking to this guy. I don't know if it had been you, whatever, whoever he's been talking to. And he said that.
The way Katie spoke really gave her away. I don't know what she was trying to do with her words, but she didn't help James at all. In the end, the whole conversation turned into her trying to protect herself. She didn't seem to care what happened to James. So now, see for yourself what she told the police.
Well, I told him y'all can go through my phone. I don't have nothing to do with that. I wasn't texting. He just told me to stop by. At first he said,
Y'all been.
he said Fitzgerald. And then he said take a back road to here. And then we were supposed to go back home. So
how long y'all been over here?
We left Eastman at around 3:30.
Okay. And like how long y'all been sitting? Like right
Oh.
here, you think?
20 minutes before he got here.
Okay. So you knew he was supposed to meet Hatfield here?
Yeah, I mean, I did know he was supposed to meet a guy here, yes.
About here.
I guess.
That's putting yourself in not so good of a situation.
I didn't know what it was about. Okay.
The cops were patient with her, even though they weren't the type to waste time. It was clear they kept talking to Katie because they knew there was still a chance to learn more about James and the pills. But Katie didn't seem to care about James anymore. She was more focused on showing how upset she was that he dragged her into the whole situation, maybe with good reason here.
I didn't. I'm honest to God. All he said was he's meeting this guy from jail here. I didn't know if he was working on a case. I didn't know what's going on, okay? And for him to tell him that he was buying pills for me, that's hard to believe that he would say that. But
This has not been our first conversation with him about him buying pills. He did not say that today, okay? We've been talking to him for several days about buying pills.
like talking to him as you or
No.
as
He thought he was talking to an inmate.
Oh, okay. Well, this is the first day I've heard about it. I didn't. Now, a week ago, he had told me something about this guy at the jail, and I told him, I said, well, don't you think you should let the sheriff know about that?
Although Katie claimed it was the first time she had heard about James buying pills and drugs, the officers discovered something more serious. They said this wasn't the first time they had talked to James about the pills he was trying to buy, and that clearly confused Katie. At that moment, it seemed like she realized the police might know a lot more than she thought, and it was as if she started to rethink everything she had just said.
He takes prescription medicine that is prescribed to him. I didn't know anything about him buying pills.
What does he take?
Not no narcotics, but he just had a wreck, and they gave him something at the hospital too.
What they give him there?
At the hospital, they gave him a lot. Oh, after the hospital? No, just his Tylenol course.
He said he didn't leave with a prescription for life.
No, he has a prescription.
Well, I'll talk with you a minute again before you leave or whatever, but I'm going to take a look through here. I'm going to have to take his phone with me. So,
I gotta look in here.
He's under arrest.
he's not going anywhere.
I can't go get him out.
Not tonight.
Yeah, you'll have to, if you're a felony charge, you might see a
Felony charge.
it's a conspiracy to purchase Schedule 2 narcotics.
Katie had nothing more to say, so she went back to her original act, denying that she knew anything. Even though it was clear to everyone that this wasn't true, she kept defending James, saying he didn't do anything wrong, even though she had already suggested the opposite a few times. Her story just wasn't adding up, and stay tuned, because this conversation was far from over.
But he didn't do anything.
That's why it's called a conspiracy.
Okay.
If it would have been Hatfield showed up here instead of us with real Roxy 20s, or for the $20 a piece for 10 that's agreed upon, he would have purchased those pills.
Yeah.
We
I get
intercepted that.
Okay.
So we stopped that from happening. But he still conspired with another person to do that.
I know, but that's like I told him. Get his side of the story.
I got his side of the story in a long list of text messages. I know his side of the story.
It's gonna ruin his life.
One of the cops finally explained to Katie why it's such a big deal when a police officer buys illegal drugs, and why it's even worse than when an ordinary person does it. But at that moment, Katie wasn't really listening. She was too busy thinking about what to say next, trying to find something that might make the situation easier for James, but mostly for herself.
I didn't do anything about that.
Could be a blessing in disguise for him.
Let me explain to you my job. I wear narcotics. I'm a drug investigator. If somebody comes to me or the sheriff with information about another officer that is going around trying to purchase illegal narcotics, and they're not involved with any kind of case where they're working undercover to purchase those narcotics, I mean, we have an obligation to do something like that. How's it going to look when we got a jail full of people that's done the same thing, and we have solid information on a police officer who's doing it, and we don't react?
Okay, but my thing is,
Of course, as you'd expect, Katie used every moment to distance herself from the situation. It was like she wanted the cops to believe she had nothing to do with any of this, even though she was clearly close to James. She even said that she shouldn't have even been there at all, as if that somehow mattered in the middle of an investigation like this.
when I heard about this a week ago, I thought it was more like, he's seeing what this guy's going to do type deal, not buying. I know him. I've lived with him forever. He does not take.
Okay.
He doesn't buy pills.
I understand that. Okay, well, let's go that route.
Okay.
You're sitting here with him. So if he's doing anything in the line of duty,
He's endangering you.
just to see if this man will show up and sell him the pills.
I wasn't supposed to be with him, but I wasn't going to let him
But
drive.
you was.
Yeah, I wasn't supposed to be with him.
And this man also said that he was buying them for you. So if you want to take up for him, you take up for him.
I mean, I
And
do.
I apologize.
I do want to take
I
up for him.
apologize for your being here when you weren't supposed to. But that don't stop us from doing what we have to do. He's been working here 3 weeks. He had a wreck. He said
Under a doctor's care.
He said yesterday.
He's not supposed to be here.
He said yesterday he couldn't even come to work because he couldn't get out of bed.
Honestly, the only mistake the cops made here was letting Katie go her own way. I mean, it was clear that she knew not just a little, but everything about what was going on. And still, they let it slide. I don't know if it's because she's a woman or because they didn't have enough reason to arrest her, but it seemed like she should have been held here too, right?
Yeah,
He
this-
couldn't come back up. The only deputy we had working on duty, but he can come over here today and purchase illegal narcotics from an ex-inmate. No sympathy for that.
Well, y'all don't know. I have sympathy.
I know enough. And like I said, sorry for your involvement. I'm gonna do what I gotta do to get you out of here, okay?
But there's no way.
Be thankful you're not riding with him
Why would I be right?
because you had knowledge of what he said you're doing. You can just as easily be a part of that conspiracy. But you've been honest with me and told me what you knew about it. We're gonna handle business for him, we'll let you be on your way. Okay?
I mean, there's no way I can get him out tonight.
No, ma'am.
And then after she found out she was free to go home, she suddenly went back to caring about James. So if you're not already used to her selective hearing, get ready for a bunch of fake tears and fake concern, because that's all you'll see in the next few minutes.
What do I need to do?
Nothing you can do right now.
How can I figure out how to get him out?
When he's formally charged and served a warrant, he'll be okay. Hold on. I'll tell you how this is going to go. He's going to be booked into the jail tonight. Then at that point, within 48 hours, he will be given an initial appearance where he will see a judge, and he will be given a bond. Okay. And then at that point, you'll be able to get him out. Okay.
So he's going to be in jail for 48 hours.
We'll try our best to get that taken care of tomorrow. We've got 48 hours to get him charged and in front of a judge. It normally doesn't take that long. We should have that taken care of by tomorrow.
And what about his he has high blood pressure, all this. He has
Okay,
to take
if you'd like to get
medications.
his medication together and drop him off at the jail, that'd be fine.
It wasn't long before the officer started questioning Katie again, as if he wasn't fully sure about letting her go. At that moment, Katie, who would have been talking nonstop just a few minutes earlier, suddenly went quiet and acted like she didn't know anything. She probably realized that this still wasn't over.
I don't even know where the jail is.
Okay. You come from Eastman?
No, I live in Orgathorpe.
You said you just come from Eastman?
Yeah, that's where my mom's house is.
You just come from down Highway 280?
I don't know. I've never been this way.
Did you come from that away?
I don't know, because we went around.
Okay. About 8 miles or so. When you get to Abbeville, we're right behind the courthouse. Okay. When you come to the red light in Abbeville, we're right behind the courthouse. He's not going to be housed there.
That's what I was going to say. You're going to put him in there with others.
No, I'm not. I'm not sure where I'm going to house him at yet. He'll be able to make a phone call when he's booked in. Okay? He'll be able to tell you.
I just don't understand why y'all have to do.
I don't understand why he wants to be a law enforcement officer and then go out and buy illegal narcotics.
But the officer had something else to say to Katie, mainly about why, as a police officer, James should never allow himself to do something like this. And honestly, I have to agree with every word he said this time. However, if you thought this case was about to end, think again, because that's not what we do here. There's always more to come.
I understand that.
Okay? I'm not having it. He is a reflection on me. Okay? He's playing with my career. Okay? I don't appreciate that.
I understand.
He's held to a higher standard, and he is far from that standard today.
All this stuff, we just picked the car up from the shop. It's got parts.
Jay.
That's my daughter's medications.
Remember when the cops decided to search Katie's car at the beginning? Well, while some of the officers were talking to her, the rest of the backup team was doing just that. And they did find some pills in her car, actually more than a few. But Katie had some pretty interesting excuses for each one of them.
How old is your daughter?
Sorry, I can't.
How old's your daughter?
She's 15.
Also,
No, it's my daughter. We have a funeral tomorrow. My cousin just got killed in Dodge County.
which one was that?
The 16-year-old, which was her best friend.
Snow?
Yes, that's my family.
Okay. You from Dodge County?
Yeah.
Okay, now you look familiar, that's why I was.
That's his card.
However, the officers also found a phone that they believed could be important for the whole investigation. They decided to take it, and of course, Katie used that moment once again to defend herself and distance herself from everything. I bet she regretted not leaving a few minutes earlier when they gave her the chance to walk away.
All right, the only thing I'm taking out of the video is the phone. Okay? That belongs in here.
Did you see that?
Is this
That's
phone?
my cash and his
Is this
card.
phone on your plan?
No, his is his name.
Okay.
But this account's in my name. It's his card.
Okay.
I'd appreciate if y'all don't take the money. I need every bit to get a lawyer.
Well, the thing about it is, we say he's sitting here waiting to buy pills from somebody. He's in the passenger seat with cash right there.
Yeah, it's his cash. He didn't had it in his pocket. And his card. That's why he carried
But how?
it.
Okay.
How was he planning on paying for the pills?
Something about... dude, I told you.
Katie's nervousness and anxiety now had reached their peak. The woman who always seemed to know exactly what to say suddenly had nothing left to tell the police. And honestly, she was lucky the cops were being this patient with her because, at this point, I don't think she deserved it.
I don't know. He did not discuss any of that with me.
Listen, first of all, I ain't referred to you as dude or
I'm
nobody.
sorry.
I said man.
I didn't know.
I don't feel free, sir, deputy, whatever. I come from the streets. I talk like that to people too. But you know, I was being trying to be respectful of you here, so I expect the same respect. Okay. We're gonna take it as evidence. I will contact the DA's office, and if they will it to be a part of evidence of this case, then I will attach it to this case. If the DA says to return the money to him, it'll be returned to him at the jail before he leaves.
Okay. I was going to say, I'm going to need every penny I can to try to keep him out of jail.
I understand that.
That's why I don't understand. I mean, I don't understand why y'all have to take that.
Because like Sheriff said, he was here with an agreement of his bills. And he said here with the amount of money.
It's interesting how confident James was, like he truly believed he couldn't be arrested. He kept buying illegal drugs even after the police had already spoken to him a couple of times before. Who knows? Maybe he thought he could do whatever he wanted just because he wore a badge, and like he felt untouchable like he's freaking Elliot Ness. But after this, he finally realized that even police officers have to face the consequences of their actions.
Seize that money, so you know I have no issue giving that money back to you if the DA says you can release it, and he says it's okay for you to use it. Carlisle. Now if he says don't get the money,
And I can't go to the jail. Can I talk now?
Not right now, not till we've attempted to interview him.
After the police took James in for questioning and then to jail, what happened next is unknown. The only thing we do know is that James is now a former police officer. He was fired from his position as deputy after the incident. Hopefully this serves as a lesson to others on how not to behave. And now we move on to another case. And speaking of moments when corrupt cops instantly lose their careers, meet Chief Deputy Edwin Johnson from the Perry County Sheriff's Department. He was off duty and driving his personal vehicle when he was stopped by the Morrilton Police Department on October 11th, 2024. But right from the start, it was clear something was wrong with Deputy Johnson.
Hello, I'm Patrolman Rose, Morrilton Police Department. The reason I stopped you, man, you're back and forth all over the road.
Oh, we was talking.
I got you. How much you had drink tonight?
What, 3? We bought a bucket. One bucket.
I was just wondering because you got the beer open there.
No, that's old.
Okay.
I've been spitting in.
Come back here. All right, so you said you only had like 3?
Yeah.
All right, just hang out right there for me.
The officers who stopped Deputy Johnson said they pulled him over because he wasn't staying in his lane and was driving recklessly. That made them suspect the driver might be under the influence of alcohol. At that point, they had no idea they were dealing with a sheriff or that their suspicions were actually correct. But Deputy Johnson didn't waste any time. He quickly introduced himself as one of their own.
Are you law enforcement or anything?
I'm Chief Deputy of Perry County.
Chief Deputy of Perry County?
That's the sheriff, wouldn't it?
Okay. All right. So, so how much you had drink again?
I had about 3, maybe 4. We bought a bucket.
I got you. All right. Are you willing to do any tests for me?
I guess I can.
Are you willing to? Here's the deal, man. If you're chief deputy, you know you're not supposed to be drinking and driving.
I understand.
Okay?
I understand.
You know, I can't just not do my job because of who you are.
Right.
Okay?
I understand. That's why I didn't say
I know. Well, I saw the card in your hand. That's why I was asking. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I'm willing to try to work with you any way I can, but again, I still got a job that I got to do. Okay. And you know that.
Yeah. I understand.
So, are you willing to do some tests?
Well, I don't know. At this point, with 3, I don't know, and I haven't ridden a DWI in 20 years.
I got you.
But I'm not drunk. I can take some of your tests, but I've got to.
Deputy Johnson here seemed surprised when the officers still asked him to take a field sobriety test. Just like in the previous case, this officer didn't expect to actually be held accountable for his actions. He thought his badge would protect him, that being a cop meant he could get away with anything. But he was about to find out how the law actually works.
I just had knee surgery not 2 years ago, but
Okay.
I can't stand on my.
Are you willing to do HCN?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Give me 1 second then.
Let me shut my truck off.
118
Is that all right?
before you come over here. Yeah, that's fine.
In or out?
That's good. Show me 10-6. Field sobriety. All right. If you will, just remove your hat for me, okay? All right. Place your feet together, arms directly to your side. All right. You see the tip of my finger?
Yeah.
All right. With your eyes and your eyes only, without moving your head, I want you to follow the tip of my finger. You understand?
Yeah.
Even though he said he had had knee surgery, the officer still decided that Deputy Johnson should go through with the field sobriety tests. Of course, he claimed he was sober, but the way he said it seemed off. He sounded upset, maybe even nervous. Because if he really was telling the truth, then there shouldn't be any reason to be afraid of doing the exercises, right?
You got me nervous.
Well, you're the police. You shouldn't be that nervous, right?
Oh, I understand, but I get nervous when they get behind me.
Don't
Oh,
move your
sorry.
head, okay?
Yeah. Can't turn it that far.
You don't want anything to do with them?
Are you willing to try the other test, the walk and turn one like sand, anything like that? I understand that you said that you just had surgery and everything. That's why I'm asking.
The first exercise was the simplest. All Deputy Johnson had to do was follow the tip of a pencil with his eyes. As you can imagine, that didn't go too well for him. The officers then told him to continue with the rest of the tests, but Deputy Johnson quickly panicked and reminded them again about his knee surgery. It was clear he was already trying to make excuses before even starting.
I mean, like I said, I've had 3 beer in the last hour and a half, 2 hours.
Give me 1 second, okay? Chief Deputy, Sheriff. I'm pretty positive. Chief Deputy driving. He said he's only had 3 beer, but then he went from 3, maybe 4. There's open containers inside the vehicle. He's already said that he already made the comment. Dispatch 10-4. He was kind of the toss-up on whether or not he was even going to take the test because he was like, I don't think I'm wrong.
However, not all police officers were as corrupt as he was. Even though Deputy Johnson thought no one noticed what he was trying to do, it was clear from the officers' conversation that they were already 1 step ahead of him. And soon, Deputy Johnson would find that out the hard way.
He's like, I haven't done DWI in 20 years. And all that. Talks about being nervous. And all that. Here's the thing. You can't just not do the job because I've explained that to him. And then you start moving to their logos and HG. He's like, I was nervous. I'm like, you're the police. You shouldn't be nervous. So, I'm gonna go back up there. I just wanted you over here just in case. I get that. So, all right, Mr. Johnson. So, are you willing to try to do the walk and turn 1 leg stand? It's up to you.
I can try it.
All right.
The officers decided to move forward with the next test. All Deputy Johnson had to do was walk heel to toe in a straight line. Sounds simple enough for someone who isn't drunk and claims to have only had a couple of beers all day, right? So what do you think? Did Deputy Johnson prove his point to the officers? Or did his actions tell a different story?
So I'm gonna have you walk over here so we can get away from that white line. Just over here somewhere. All right. So we're gonna imagine straight line right there, okay? What I want you to do is I want you to take your left foot, put it on that line. Go ahead and do that now. Take your right foot, heel to toe, in front of your left foot. I want you to stay in that position until I tell you to begin. Do you understand? Okay. All right, when I tell you to begin, and only whenever I tell you to begin, I want you to take 9 heel to toe steps, okay? It's gonna look like this. 1, 2, 3, and so on until you get to 9. I did 3, you're gonna do 9. Do you understand that? On that 9th step, I want you to keep your front foot planted, to take a series of small steps, to turn 9 heel to toe steps back. 1, 2, 3, and so on until you get to 9. Again, I did 3, you're gonna do 9. Do you understand that? All right, while you're doing this test, I want you to keep your arms to your side. I want you to look at your foot, and I want you to count your steps out loud. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
All right, you may begin.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1.
As you'd expect, Deputy Johnson didn't do well on that exercise either. So the officers decided to move on to the next one, standing on 1 leg. And just like before, Deputy Johnson didn't waste a second reminding them yet again about his knee surgery. But let's be honest, that excuse is getting old here. He could have just stood on the other leg, right?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
All right. Turn and face me. You're good. Yeah, you're good. All right. You're willing to do the 1 leg stand, correct?
I'll try.
All right. Feet together, arms to your side, okay? until these cars pass.
Got me leaning here, but
I got you. All right, so when I tell you to begin, only whenever I tell you to begin, I want you to pick up either foot, doesn't matter which one, okay?
this one I may not be able to do because of my knees, but I'll try.
Okay. Anyways, I'm going to ask you to pick up a foot, either foot, doesn't matter.
Okay.
You're going to pick it up approximately 6 inches off the ground, keeping your foot parallel to the ground. You're going to count out loud 1001, 1002, 1003, and so on until I tell you to stop, okay? The entire time that you're doing this test, I want your arms to your side, look at your foot, and count out loud. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
All right. You may begin.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't do it.
All right.
Foot and knees hurting. I can't do it.
I got you. Would you be willing to blow in a PBT for me?
Who knows, maybe up until that moment, Deputy Johnson thought he had done just well enough for the officers to let him go. But then came the question he wasn't ready for. When the officers asked him to blow into the breathalyzer, he immediately started arguing. He knew he was cooked. He was angry that he had been caught. But let's be real, he should have thought about all of that before he decided to get behind the wheel drunk.
I don't know. I really don't. I hate to argue with a police officer.
No, I understand.
You know,
I
I hate to argue
understand.
with a police officer. I had a beer right before we left. I drank about half a beer and set it on the table. So,
Okay.
you know, I hate to do that.
A bucket and a steak.
Huh?
A bucket and a steak.
A bucket and a steak's what I've had.
Okay.
We had a bucket and a steak and listened to Jamie Campbell play, or Jason Campbell play, because he's from Perry County.
I got you. Again, I'm just asking, would you be willing to?
I don't know, man. I
We're just
really
trying to
don't.
gauge where you're at, man. You know it as well as we do.
Oh, I know, but like I said, I drank a half a beer before I walked, before we walked out the door, which is right over there, you know.
Deputy Johnson was angry at the officers simply for doing their job. Out of some kind of rebellion, he refused to take the breathalyzer test. But in doing that, he only made things worse for himself. As he should know as a police officer, refusing the test automatically counts as a DUI charge. And this time, he had no one to blame but himself.
I don't think I should. I mean, for a little bit anyway.
So you don't want to do that?
I don't want to do a PBT. I don't, and I know it's not admissible in court. I just.
Okay. Well, here's the thing, okay? I've done all these tests. I do believe that there is enough to arrest you for DWI on the test. Okay? Give me 1 second though and talk to my sergeant. I think we both know that that's not a pass or fail test. Okay? It's not a pass or fail test. SFSTs, you look for clues. It's not a pass or fail
Yeah, how
test.
many clues did he fail on? You have to, it's
Okay.
a pass or fail.
It's not pass or fail.
So many clues.
There is so many
There's
clues.
so many clues gives you a percentage to what you're looking for, but again, it's not a pass or fail.
I don't have any interest in arguing.
And I'm not trying to argue with you. He made a
If
comment.
you feel like I need to get a ride or whatever, that's fine with me. Somebody to drive, whatever, I'm okay with that. I don't want a problem with y'all at all. We bought a steak each and a bucket of beer.
Well, so here's the thing, okay?
It's almost comical that Deputy Johnson still thought he had some kind of say in the situation. First of all, he wasn't even in uniform. And second, it was about time he learned that being a cop doesn't mean you're above the law. It means you should follow it even more. Still, for some reason, he acted like he had the right to demand things. But it wouldn't be long before he realized just how wrong he was.
I'm trying to give you the professional courtesy, okay? Typically, on a DWI, I would not call my sergeant over here
I understand,
and discuss all this with
I'm
him,
not
okay?
trying to be rude at all.
No, I understand.
I'm not trying to be rude at all.
But I'm trying to explain to you, I'm trying to do my best to give you all the professional
Yeah.
courtesy and everything.
Right.
Because
I
again,
understand.
if this was anyone else,
Yeah.
I wouldn't. If he was over here, it's because he just came over here on his
Right,
own.
right.
I've asked him to come over here.
Okay. I understand.
So let me go speak with him real quick, okay?
I didn't mean to be argumentative at all.
No, and I don't think y'all are. Again, he asked the question we were answering.
The whole reason he's wanting to blow in PBT is to see if you're under. Because
Right.
he doesn't, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm his supervisor, he doesn't use a PBT on his DWIs. most of the time because he's confident in his SFSTs.
Right.
Is what it is. Give us a sec.
So obviously, got stepped offline. He didn't use his arms to balance. He wasn't like flailing, but it was out. And then he missed the limit toe, I think, twice. Obviously. So I got like 6 of 8 on HGN.
6 of 6.
Or yeah, sorry.
Even for the officers who stopped him, this was an uncomfortable situation. And honestly, who could blame them? It's not every day you pull over the chief deputy and catch him driving drunk. That's why they stepped aside to talk in private and figure out what to do next. But even those officers, who had been doing everything right up to that point, ended up making a mistake they shouldn't have made.
Anyhow.
I'll call him. You go up there.
No, I'll call him real quick if you'll go up there. Hey, buddy. So, I am out with Chief Deputy and Sheriff of Perry County. Chief Deputy's driving, and like 99% positive he is DWI.
Muting a body camera during any police interaction is a big red flag. Those cameras are there for a reason, to protect both the public and the officers. Turning them off or muting them during a situation should absolutely come with consequences. But back to our case. Calling a supervisor was definitely the right move. It showed the officer was trying to handle things by the book, even in a tough situation like this.
I've already done HGN, or all SFSTs. It's just kind of, I was asking Albie what he thought and everything. He won't blow a PBT. Asking what he thought. He said to call you and see what you think, because you're probably going to hear about it anyways. And that's kind of how I felt, and my thing is too, is like I got Caesar with us, or with me, but I wanted to check with you first to try to do that professional courtesy and everything for them. Right.
The officers confronted Deputy Johnson again. He still claimed he wasn't drunk and that he wouldn't have driven if he was. But then, how could he explain why he refused to take the breathalyzer test, right? Everything he said only made the situation worse than it had to be, because at this point, it was obvious to everyone what needed to be done.
I got you. Well, like I said, I wanted to check with you first, and Albie kind of told me to check with you first too before we went off. Albie's pretty much was telling me the same thing you were, but he didn't say maybe just check with you first, since you're going to be hearing about it anyhow. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I told him. So, all right then. All right.
Y'all ever been in this situation, but we have a few times and it's not fun.
I mean, I'm not.
It's a pretty shitty situation, man.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand. But, I mean, I wouldn't be mindful if I was drunk. I'm not.
So, here's the deal. He got 6 of 6 clues on your eyes, 3 clues on your walk and turn. 2 is what you're looking for.
And then 1 leg stand, I mean, you didn't do it but 5 seconds, but
Right, but
automatically got.
I can't do 1 leg stand even when I'm
Right.
instructing it.
I'm just, man, I wouldn't have got in my truck if I was a
I
dive.
promise you I can do it right now, flying colors, and I'm
I
very
promise you.
overweight, man.
I can, not with my bad ankles.
I promise you, I wouldn't have crawled in the truck if I'm not that guy.
And then came the moment when Deputy Johnson finally heard the officer's decision. I bet he didn't expect anything like this, even in his wildest dreams. But the time had come for a reality check, and one he'd never forget.
We got a steak and 3 beer each. And I say that, we had a bucket.
Did you just put a dip or a piece of gum or anything in your mouth?
I've got Zen.
Zen? Okay.
I threw it out.
Well, I mean, you just threw it out, so I'm not going to ask you to blow in a PBT again. The thing is like I'm trying to give you as much courtesy as I can.
Right.
Okay. But the thing is DWIs are DWIs. Okay. We both know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've talked to my sergeant. I've called my assistant chief to see how to go about handling this, and it's pretty much one of them things. DWIs are DWIs.
Right.
Okay. So.
I mean, there is no professional courtesy when it is the
Man, I'm trying to do everything I can. Okay.
and it is what it is.
So, again, like he said, I've been doing this long enough. I've worked enough DWIs to be confident in my SFSTs. Again, the PBT was pretty much just kind of professional courtesy. Maybe I was wrong somewhere. Okay. But I'm not even if you're willing to do that now, I'm not going to ask you because you just spat out that Zen. Man, right now I'm going to place you under arrest for DWI. Okay.
Can I throw this hat in the truck?
Absolutely.
In my pocket now?
Yeah. Go ahead.
The officers decided to arrest him, and honestly, it's about time. They had been more than patient with him, even though he didn't deserve it, especially with how arrogant he had been towards them.
Let me get my wallet.
You good? You'll come back here with me. No gun or anything on you?
No.
Okay.
Deputy Johnson was arrested and charged with driving under the influence of alcohol. But the embarrassment hit him hard, so much that he ended up stepping down from his position after the incident. What do you think? Has he learned his lesson? Let us know in the comments. Now, you might be thinking there's no way cops could be worse than this guy. But trust me, the next video is gonna leave you even more shocked. Stick around because there's always another case that proves just how far some cops are willing to go.